students. First of all, I welcome you all to my YouTube lessons. We started the discussion on model papers with respect to the reduced syllabus for the annual examination 2020-21. Is it not? We already completed 3 model papers. Now it is the 4th model paper. We'll start that 4th model paper on reduced syllabus for the annual examination for this year, that is 2020-21 in chemistry subject. Okay, now we'll start with the model paper 4, question number 1. As usual, we have part A, part B, part C and part D, is it not? Part A, that is in part A, you are supposed to answer 10 questions. Each question carries 1 mark. You have to answer all these 10 questions, in a word or in a sentence. We'll see that first question. Dissolution of solid in liquid is exothermic process. How does solubility of solid in liquid vary with the temperature? In the question itself, you have that information, that is when solute is dissolved in solvent. When solute is dissolved in solvent, you are going to get a solution. Yes, you are going to get a solution. And dissolution of solid solute in liquid solvent involves liberation of heat. That is exothermic process. According to Le-Chatelier's principle, that is exothermic processes, they are favored at low temperature. Endothermic processes will be favored at high temperature. Here, in this particular case, forward process is dissolution, backward process is crystallization. Forward process, that is dissolution of solid in liquid, is an exothermic process. Therefore, according to Le-Chatelier's principle, this particular dissolution of solid in liquid will be favored at low temperature. Therefore, as the temperature increases, solubility of solid in liquid decreases. The answer is 10. Because dissolution of solid in liquid is exothermic process, Because of that, when temperature is raised, solubility of solid in liquid decreases. That is the answer. What is molality? As far as molality is concerned, one of the methods of expressing concentration of solutions, molality corresponds to the number of moles of solute dissolved in 1 kg of solvent. That is what we call it as molality. Number of moles of solute dissolved in 1 kg of solvent is molality. Let me remind you one more method of expressing concentration, that is molarity, represented by capital M. Yes, molarity. This is number of moles of solute dissolved in 1 liter solution. Just make out the difference. Just observe this, molality does not depend on the volume of solution or volume of solvent. Therefore, molality is independent of temperature. Molality is independent of temperature because it does not depend on the volume of solvent or volume of solution. Molarity depends on volume of solution. 1 liter solution is unity. Molarity depends on volume of solution. Therefore, molarity depends on temperature. That means molarity varies with the temperature. When the temperature is increased, molarity decreases because increase in temperature will increase the volume. Thereby, molarity decreases. Really. Let me what is molality anteli? Adakoskara number of moles of solute dissolved in 1 kg of solvent and the saku. What is the effect of increase in temperature on the electronic conductance of metals? As you know that metals are electronic conductors. Your electrical conductivity is due to the movement of electrons. When the temperature of metals is increased, electrical conductivity decreases because increase in temperature of metals is going to affect the movement of electrons in solid. Because of that, as temperature increases, electrical conductivity of electronic conductors decreases. That is question number 3 from electrochemistry. Rate constant of reaction is 2.3 into 10 to the power of minus 3 liter per mole per second. Identify the order of reaction ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. As far as rate constant is concerned, based on the units of rate constant, you can identify the order of reaction. This rate is equal to K into A to the power of N. For nth order reaction, rate is directly proportional to concentration of reactant raised to power N. This is for nth order reaction. I want to know the rate constant, that is equal to rate divided by A to the power of N. Avadalva? The unit of rate, that is moles per liter per second. This is the unit of rate. This is the unit of rate. Moles per liter per second. Unit of rate, moles per liter per second. Unit of concentration, moles per liter. This is unit of concentration raised to power N. And this power 1 ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ power n ಇದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, unit of rate constant for the nth order reaction ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, 1 minus n ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, yes, per second. This is unit of rate constant for the nth order reaction. If n is equal to 0 ಹಾಕಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ n is equal to 0 ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ rate constant ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, moles per liter per second ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. This is rate constant unit ಏನಾದರೂ moles per liter per second ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದು 0 order reaction ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. n is equal to 1 ಹಾಕಿ ಆಗ unit of rate constant per second ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. 1 ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ 1 minus 1 0 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Anything raised to power 0 is 1 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ per second ಅಥವಾ per minute ಅಥವಾ per year ಅಥವಾ per day. They are the units of rate constant for the first order reaction. n equals 2 ಹಾಕಿ ಆಗ ನೋಡಿ rate constant unit ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, 1 minus 2 is minus 1. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ moles per liter ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ, ಟು ದಿ ಪವರ್ minus 1 per second ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹೌದಾ? This is equal to what? Minus 1 into minus 1 is plus 1 liter. Mole to the power minus 1 per second. This is the unit of rate constant for the second order reaction. ನಮ್ಮ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೇ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನೋಡಿ 2.3 into 10 to the power minus 3 ಲೀಟರ್ per mole per second ಅಂತ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ ಯೂನಿಟ್. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ for our question, order of reaction is second order. Yes, the reaction is of second order. Okay na? ಹಾಗೆ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ n equals 3 ಹಾಕಿಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ರೇಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಮೋಲ್ ಪರ್ ಲೀಟರ್ 3 ಹಾಕಿ 1 minus 3 is minus 2 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, minus 2 per second ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅವಾಗ L square minus 1 into minus into minus plus ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, L square mole to the power minus 2 per second. This is what we call it as unit of rate constant for a third order reaction. This is unit of rate constant for a third order reaction. Again, by using this particular formula, you can decide the unit of rate constant for any chemical reaction. Okay na? This is what we call it as order of reaction. For question number 4, order of reaction is 2. Question number 5 nodi. Give an example for adsorption indicators. Generally, adsorption indicators are used in precipitation titrations. Therefore, the end point of the titration can be detected by using adsorption indicators. They are going to adsorb on the precipitates. Thereby, one can detect the end point of titration. And that's why we have adsorption indicators like eosin and fluorescein. They are the what we call it as adsorption indicators. Okay na? Eosin or fluorescein. Question number 6 nodi. What is the main commercial source of helium anta ide? The commercial source of helium is natural gas. So this is the answer for that. We have many sources for helium, but the commercial source of helium is natural gas, right? Next study, one equation is given and you are supposed to complete this equation. Xc(F6) plus H2O. Above the arrow mark we have partial hydrolysis anta ide. Partial hydrolysis anta ide, right? And you are 2HF anta avare kottbittidare, hauda? And you have to identify the one more product of this particular reaction. 2HF ಹೋದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಉಳಿಯೋದೇನು ನೋಡಿ, HCOF4. ಎರಡು ಫ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ಆಟಮ್ಸ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಕಂಬೈನ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟು 2HF ಬರುತ್ತೆ, 4 ಫ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ಉಳಿತದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ HCOF4 xenon oxyfluoride, that is what we call it as the product there. Yes. Question number 8 ನೋಡಿ, what are chiral molecules ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. Chiral molecules are the molecules which are non-superimposable on their mirror images. We call them as chiral molecules. ಹೌದಾ? Generally, chiral molecules are characterized by asymmetric carbon atom. ಹೌದಾ? Asymmetric carbon atom is carbon atom in the carbon atoms, sp3 hybridized carbon atom attached with 4 different groups or atoms. That is asymmetric carbon atom. ಅಥವಾ in the case of chiral molecules, plane of symmetry is absent. Plane of symmetry is absent. Iವೆಲ್ಲ the properties of chiral molecules. Write equation for the reaction between carbonyl compound and hydroxylamine. One of the properties of carbonyl compounds that undergo condensation with ammonia derivatives in presence of acid catalyst. Look at this, when carbonyl compounds react with hydroxylamine, you are going to get one class of organic compounds called oxymes. This is oxime. ಇದು ಕಾರ್ಬನೈಲ್ ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಾನು C ಡಬಲ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಈ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್, ನೇಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ when acetaldehyde reacts with hydroxylamine ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ CH3H ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. acetaldehyde ಇದು ನೀವು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಬರೀರಿ, CH3H. ಇದೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನೇಮ್ ಈಸ್ acetaldioxime ಅಂತ ಬರೀಬಹುದು. Acetaldioxime is the name of the product. ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಇಲ್ಲಿ CH3 ಇದ್ರೆ, ಅಸಿಟೋನ್ ಇದ್ರೆ, ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ CH3 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಈಗ ನೇಮ್ ಈಸ್ acetaldioxime ಅಂತ ಬರೀಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ. ಟೋಟಲಿ when aldehydes and ketones undergo condensation with hydroxylamine, you are going to get the class of organic compounds called oxymes. And particularly hydrogen gives hydrozones, phenyl hydrogen gives phenyl hydrozones, semicarboxide gives semicarbozones upon reacting with aldehydes and ketones in presence of acid catalyst. That is question number 9. Equation ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಆಯ್ತು. Name the optically inactive natural occurring alpha amino acid ಅಂತಿದೆ. All alpha amino acids are optically active except one. What is that? Glycine. Glycine is optically inactive. Yes, it is alpha amino acid. You know, general formula of alpha amino acid. This is general formula of alpha amino acids. If R is equal to H, it will be glycine. Look at this in glycine. We don't find any asymmetric carbon atom. But in other alpha amino acids, you know, minimum one asymmetric carbon atom will be present. So for example, ಈಗ alanine ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ CH3 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆಗ ನೋಡಿ, this is asymmetric carbon atom ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ this is attached to 4 different groups. This is optically active. Alanine is optically active. But ನಮಗೆ optically inactive ಬೇಕಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ glycine where R is equal to H. ಇಲ್ಲೂ H ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲೂ H ಇದೆ. 2 similar groups ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ asymmetric carbon atom is absent. Therefore it is optically inactive. Yes. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಗ್ಲೈಸಿನ್ ಅಂತ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ the 10 questions from part A of the model paper 4. Okay, na? So this is model paper 4 now. Now we'll see that part B. You know, in part B, we have 8 questions. Each question carries 2 marks and you are supposed to answer 5 questions out of 8. Okay, na? 11th question, that is from solid state chapter. What is Frankel effect? Mention its effect on density of solid. As far as Frankel defect is concerned, it is interstitial defect in ionic solids. Interstitial defect in ionic solid, and it is due to the dislocation of smaller cation from its lattice site into the interstitial site. It's because of the dislocation of smaller cation from its actual site into the interstitial site. That is what we call it as Frankel defect. You know, for example, if I say one, yes it is ionic crystal and then endpoint contact, right? This is one ionic crystal, right? Just observe here. I'm writing one ionic crystal where cations are surrounded by anions, cations are surrounded by anions, anions are surrounded by cations, right? So this is plus minus plus, plus minus plus, plus minus plus, minus plus, and of course minus plus, minus plus. So, okay na? You know, if this cation, okay na, from its actual site, if it is dislocated from its actual site into the interstitial site, a white cell ಏನಾದರೂ ಆ cation ಬಂದು ಕುತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ actual site of cation is this. If it is dislocated from its actual site into the interstitial site, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? The defect is Frankel defect. You know, this Frankel defect does not affect on the density of crystals because cations and anions are not missing from their crystal lattice. Simply, smaller cations are dislocated from their actual site into the interstitial site. Therefore, there will be no change in the mass of the, yes, it is the crystal there, and therefore there will be no change in the density of crystal. Frankel defect does not affect the density of a crystal. Okay, now density of crystal remains same even though Frankel defect is found in crystals, right? So that is what we call it as yes, it is Frankel defect. And this kind of defect is found in if there is a large difference in size of cations and anions. If there is a large difference in size of cations and anions, then Frankel defect is found. So for example, AgCl, ZnS, or AgBr, these are the some crystalline solids which will exhibit, yes, it is Frankel defect. Ade Schottky defect adre, Schottky defect is vacancy defect in ionic solids. Nenpidgobeku, Schottky defect and Frankel defect, both are point defects, both are found in ionic crystals, okay na? And Frankel defect is interstitial defect, whereas Schottky defect is vacancy defect in ionic solids, and it is due to the missing of equal number of cations and anions from their lattice sites. You know, Schottky defect leads to decrease in density of crystal, and in the case of Schottky defect, there will be small difference in size of cations and anions. ಹೌದಾ? ಇವನ್ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗಮನ ಇಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. Yes. Question number 12 ನೋಡಿ, that is from electrochemistry, right? Lambda m naught for sodium chloride, hydrochloric acid, sodium acetate are given, and you are supposed to calculate lambda m naught of acetic acid. You know, that is limiting molar conductivity of weak electrolytes can be determined by using Cold-Rash law of indifferent migration of ions. Look at this lambda m naught of acetic acid, lambda m naught of acetic acid, yes, CH3 COOH is equal to lambda m naught of, yes, it is acetate plus lambda m naught of, yes, it is H plus ions. The limiting molar conductivity of an electrolyte is equal to sum of the limiting ionic conductivities of constituent anions and cations, each multiplied by number of ions present in one formula unit of the electrolyte. At the ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು. This is the formula that I can go for calculating limiting molar conductivity of acetic acid. Here you are provided with limiting molar conductivity of sodium chloride, limiting molar conductivity of HCl, limiting molar conductivity of sodium acetate CS3COONe. Limiting molar conductivity of NaCl is 126.4 Simon centimeter square per mole. Limiting molar conductivity of HCl is 425.9 Simon centimeter square per mole. Yes. Limiting molar conductivity of sodium acetate is 91 Simon centimeter square per mole. This is the given information. I can make use of this information to calculate limiting molar conductivity of weak electrolyte like acetic acid. You know, acetate ions are present in sodium acetate. Therefore, I can use that particular, yes, it is limiting molar conductivity of sodium acetate. Yes. So this will contribute, yes, it is acetate ions. Sodium acetate will contribute acetate ions. And H plus ions are found in case of HCl. Therefore, HCl will contribute HCl, there H plus ions, therefore plus limiting molar conductivity of HCl, right? And this will contribute acetate, this will contribute H plus ions, but we don't want contribution of Na plus and Cl minus ions towards limiting molar conductivity of acetic acid. Therefore, you have to subtract the limiting molar conductivity of NaCl from this. That is lambda m naught of, yes, it is NaCl. ಹೌದಾ? ಸೋಡಿಯಂ ಅಸಿಟೇಟ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ, 91 ಇದೆ. HCl ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, 425.9 ಇದೆ. ಮೈನಸ್, yes, it is NaCl ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, 126.4 ಇದೆ. And you will get the final answer in Simon centimeter square per mole. And it comes out to be, look here, it is 91 plus 425.9 minus 126.4. It comes out to be 390.5. This is limiting molar conductivity of, yes, it is acetic acid. Just formula substitution, final answer with proper unit. 2 mark question. Yes. So that is question number 12 there. Yes. ಈಗ ಬನ್ನಿ question number 13 ನೋಡಿ. For the reaction R gives P, R is a reactant, P is a product. Concentration of reactant changes from 0.03 molar to 0.02 molar in 25 minutes. Calculate the average rate of a reaction in terms of seconds, right? Look at this. Average rate of a reaction is given by minus of change in molar concentration of reactant divided by change in time. Change in molar concentration of reactant divided by the change in time, that is in a given interval of time, delta T. And it is minus of, look at this, change in concentration of reactant is final concentration minus initial concentration. Final concentration is, this is 0.02 ಇದೆ, minus of initial concentration 0.03 ಇದೆ, delta T 25 minutes ಇದೆ, seconds ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ into 60 ಬರೀಬೇಕು, because delta T is equal to 25 minutes, that's equal to 25 to 60 seconds. You are expected to calculate average rate in seconds ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀನಿ. ನೋಡಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇದು, 0.01 divided by, yes, it is it will be, yes, it is 1500 seconds ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Simplify ಮಾಡಿ, you are going to get, yes, it is average rate in terms of, yes, it is mole per liter per, yes, it is second. This is what we call it as the average rate. Okay na? We'll see ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ, right? 0.01 divided by 1500, it comes out to be, yes, ನೋಡಿ ಇದು 0.0000, of course 5 zeros, 666 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, or you can say 6.66 into 10 to the power minus 6 mole per liter per second. This is the, yes, it is average rate minus delta R divided by delta T. ಆಗುವುದಲ್ಲ? This is average rate. Right? So this is, yes, it is the average rate 6.66 into 10 to the power minus 6 mole per liter per second. Yes. Okay na? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ ಆರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ that is final concentration is 0.02 minus 0.03 initial minus 0.01 molar minus 0.01 molar ಅಂದ್ರೆ moles per liter ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ನೀವು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ moles per liter ಬದಲಾಗಿ ನೀವು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಎಂ ಬದಲು ಸರಿನೇ, that is also the moles per liter ಅಂತಾನೆ ಅರ್ಥ. ಎಸ್, ಈಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಬರೀಬಹುದು. ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ as the question number 13 from reaction kinetics. Question number 14 ನೋಡಿ, from lanthanides ಇಂದ ಬರುತ್ತದು. What is the common oxidation state of lanthanides? One more question. The common oxidation state of lanthanides will be +3. That is the most common oxidation state of lanthanides. Right? One consequence of yes, it is lanthanide contraction ಅಂತ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ. Supposed to write one consequence of lanthanide contraction. Yes. As far as consequences of the lanthanide contraction is concerned, you know, lanthanide contraction refers to the regular decrease in size of lanthanide atoms or ions with increase in atomic number. That is called what we call it as lanthanide contraction. Due to lanthanide contraction, atomic size of yes, it is 4D series elements will be similar to the atomic size of corresponding, yes, it is 5D series elements. You know, for example, nanige second row transition series elements ಯಾವ್ದಂತ ನಿಮಗೆ ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. That is second row transition series elements will be, look at this, yttrium ಇದೆ, zirconium ಇದೆ, right? Nobelium ಇದೆ, niobium ಇದೆ, yes, niobium ಇದೆ, molybdenum ಇದೆ, yes, technetium ಇದೆ, right? And of course ruthenium ಇದೆ. These are all some elements found in, yes, it is second row transition series. And this series of elements is also called as 4D series elements ಅಂತಾನೂ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. Yes. Okay na? And the third row transition series ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, third row transition series elements ಯಾವ್ದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, here we have lanthanide, yes, we have lanthanum ಇದೆ. Next we have hafnium, yes, and after hafnium we have tantalum, yes, we have Ta ಇದೆ, we have tungsten ಇದೆ, right, we have rhenium ಇದೆ, right, and of course we have osmium ಇದೆ. ಇದು third row transition series, and this is also known as 5D series ಅಂತಾನೆ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. This is 5D series. What I said, one of the consequences of lanthanide contraction is atomic size of 4D series elements will be similar to the atomic size of corresponding elements of 5D series. Atomic size of 4D series elements will be similar to the atomic size of corresponding elements of 5D series. Andre atomic size of zirconium is almost similar to that of hafnium. Atomic size of niobium is almost similar to the tantalum. Atomic size of molybdenum is almost similar to the tungsten. Like that, you know. This is the consequence of, yes, it is lanthanide contraction. So generally ನಾವು ಏನು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, on moving down the group ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು, atomic size should increase. ನಾವು ಜನರಲ್ ಟ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಏನು atomic size on moving down the group ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು, atomic size should increase. But ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, even though if I move from zirconium to hafnium, even though I move down the group ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, atomic size remains same. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಿ, one factor from zirconium to hafnium, that factor increases atomic size. ಹೌದಾ? ಆದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ lanthanum atomic number 57, hafnium atomic number 72. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ from 58 to 71 ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇದು from atomic number 58 to 71 ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, that is lanthanides ಇರ್ತದೆ. 57 ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ 72 ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಈ 58 ಇಂದ 71 ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಎಸ್ 4F series elements ಅದು lanthanides. ಇಲ್ಲೇನಿದೆ, lanthanide contraction ಇದೆ. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಏನಿದೆ, lanthanide contraction, that decreases atomic size. On moving down the group, atomic size increases. If I move from left to right, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, atomic size decreases. That is due to lanthanide contraction. That makes atomic size of zirconium and hafnium to be same. Because of these two factors, you know, atomic size of that is 4D series elements will be almost similar to the atomic size of corresponding elements of 5D series. So that is what we call it as consequence of the lanthanide contraction. Yes, and of course, at the same time, one more consequence of lanthanide contraction is basic strength of hydroxides of lanthanides will be decreased. Basic strength of the hydroxides of lanthanides will be decreased due to, yes, it is lanthanide contraction. If I move from the left to right, atomic size goes on decreasing. If the size of the atom decreases, basic strength of yes, it is metal hydroxide decreases. Hagagi basic strength kuda kadame agutte. That is due to lanthanide contraction, basic strength decreases from decreases from La OH thrice to Lu OH thrice. This is one more consequence of, yes, it is lanthanide contraction. But ನಿಮಗೆ ಕೇಳಿರೋದು ಒಂದೇ ಕಾನ್ಸಿಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಹೀಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. Atomic size of second row transition series will be similar to the atomic size of corresponding elements of, yes, it is third row transition series ಅಂತ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು. Yes, ಅಥವಾ atomic size of zirconium is almost similar to the hafnium. Atomic size of niobium is almost similar to the tantalum. That is also the consequence of, yes, it is lanthanide contraction. Yes. Question number 15 nodi, that is from haloalkanes and haloarenes chapter in the birthday, right? SN1 reactions of optically active alkalides accompanied by racemization. Why antedi? That is in the case of optically active alkalides, SN1 mechanism leads to racemization. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ ನಾನು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, in the case of SN1 mechanism, there is a formation of, yes, it is carbocation. ಹೌದಾ? SN1 mechanism leads to the formation of carbocation. ಹೌದಾನೆ? Because of that, this carbocation is characterized by sp2 hybridized carbon atom. Therefore, all atoms or groups attached to the positively charged carbon are in one plane. Therefore, this carbocation is planar. Because of that, a nucleophile can attack this carbocation from either sides. There is an equal chance of attack of nucleophile on either side of the, yes, it is carbocation. And because of that, that results in the formation of two products. One product will have a same configuration similar to that of the alkaloid, okay na? And the second product will have opposite configuration. There is a equal chance of formation of two products. One with a similar configuration, another with a opposite configuration. Hagagi, yes, it is there is a formation of equimolar mixture of D and L forms, and therefore that SN1 mechanism leads to, yes, it is racemization in the case of optically active alkalides. This is what we call it as the reason for racemization in SN1 mechanism, especially in the case of optically active, yes, it is alkalides. So this is what we call it as the reason for that. And of course, question number 15 there. Yes. How is benzene converted into phenol? Through the formation of benzene sulfonic acid. And you have to convert that benzene into, yes, it is phenol. You have to convert that benzene into phenol via the formation of, yes, it is benzene sulfonic acid. Look at this. When benzene reacts with oleum, right? When benzene reacts with oleum, H2SO7, that is a concentrated sulfuric acid saturated with sulfur trioxide, that is oleum. Then you are going to get, yes, it is benzene sulfonic acid. You are going to get benzene sulfonic acid, SO3H. Sulfonation of this benzene results in the formation of benzene sulfonic acid. When this benzene sulfonic acid reacts with sodium hydroxide, this is acid and this is base. Acid-base reaction takes place that results in the formation of, yes, it is sodium benzene sulfonate. Yes, sodium benzene sulfonate. Okay, now, and this undergoes further reaction with sodium hydroxide. This undergoes further reaction with sodium hydroxide to form, yes, it is sodium phenate. That creates the formation of sodium phenate with the loss of NaHSO3. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ NaHSO3 ತೆಗೆದುಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಉಳಿಯೋದೇನೋ, yes, it is sodium phenoxide. This sodium phenoxide undergoes acid hydrolysis. Hydrolysis ಮಾಡಿ, and of course in presence of dilute HCl, that leads to the formation of phenol. So this is how benzene can be converted to phenol through the formation of benzene sulfonic acid. ಇದು ಆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್, ಓಕೆನಾ? ಆದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಇಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಬರಿಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವು ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ನೀವು ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಹೇಗೆ ಬರಿಬಹುದು ಈ ಒಂದು ಇಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, you will show the formation of benzene to benzene sulfonic acid, and you treat it with acetate sodium hydroxide followed by acid hydrolysis in presence of dilute HCl. It's well better. You can write yes, it is a phenol. It's further saku, you will get the marks. So this is what we call it as benzene. Yes, it is. This is benzene sulfonic acid. This is benzene sulfonic acid, and of course this is phenol. You can write only this much. Question number 17 nodi, it is from alcohols, phenols and ethers, okay na? And look at that, explain Friedel-Crafts acylation of anisole antida. You know, when anisole reacts with acetyl chloride, yes, and this is what we call it as anisole or the methoxybenzene. When it reacts with, yes, it is acetyl chloride, yes, Cl, C double bond O, C, yes, this is acetyl chloride in presence of anhydrous aluminum chloride, Friedel-Crafts catalyst. And of course, you are going to get mixture of ortho and product products. You are going to get, look at this one, it will be ortho product. This is ortho product, yes. Another is what we call it as para product, yes. This is para product plus 2HCl. You ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಹೀಗೆ ಬರೀರಿ, Cl, CO, CH3 ಇಷ್ಟು ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಓಕೆನಾ? ನೋಡಿ, we have 2 molecules of anisole. Here it is, 2 molecules of acetate acetyl chloride, and of course this is the equation. Anisole reacts with acetyl chloride in presence of anhydrous aluminum chloride to give, look at this, this is 2-methoxyacetophenone ಅಥವಾ ortho-methoxyacetophenone. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ if methoxy group is not there, it would have been acetophenone. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ 2-methoxyacetophenone, 4-methoxyacetophenone, yes. And out of these two, 4-methoxyacetophenone is major product, yes. So that is what we call it as the reaction there, okay na? Friedel-Crafts acylation of, yes, it is anisole. Illi you should be very careful while naming the product. You should name this particular compound with respect to acetophenone. As keto group will be given more priority than ether group. Hagagi idu 2-methoxyacetophenone, it is 4-methoxyacetophenone, right? Write equations for the reactions involved in the conversion of aniline to para-nitroaniline antidare. Conversion of aniline to para-nitroaniline. You know, if aniline is subjected to nitration directly, or you can say, if aniline undergoes nitration directly, you are going to get mixture of 3 products. One is para-nitroaniline, meta-nitroaniline, ortho-nitroaniline. When aniline undergoes direct nitration in presence of concentrated sulfuric acid and concentrated nitric acid, mixture of 3 products are produced. Para-nitroaniline 51% ಬರುತ್ತೆ, meta-nitroaniline 47% ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ortho-nitroaniline 2% ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಗಮನಿಸಿ, this is unexpected product. Meta-nitroaniline is unexpected product and it will be 47% ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಹೌದಾ? We know the reason for that. That is the formation of meta-nitroaniline is due to the formation of anilinium ion in presence of acid. Aniline is readily converted to anilinium ion in presence of strong acid like sulfuric acid and nitric acid. This NH3 plus is meta-directing group, therefore you are going to get meta-nitro product, and that too 47%. You are going to get mixture of all the 3 products. But if you want to prepare only one product during nitration, and you need to protect that is NH2 group, you need to, yes, it is decrease the reactivity of NH2 group towards electrophilic substitution reaction. For that purpose, you know, what you need to do is aniline has to be subjected to, yes, it is aniline has to be subjected to, yes, it is acetylation using acetic anhydride, in presence of, yes, it is pyridine. Then you are going to get, yes, it is acetanilide. You are going to get acetylation of aniline leads to what? Yes, it is acetanilide barutte. Now NHCOCH3 group is less reactive than NH2 group towards electrophilic substitution reaction. Now this is acetanilide. Now this will be subjected to nitration. Yes, this will be subjected to nitration using concentrated sulfuric acid and concentrated nitric acid at about 288 kelvins. At about 288 kelvins, okay now. Then you are going to get metanitroacetanilide. You are going to get metanitroacetanilide, NHCOCH3. This is metanitroacetanilide barutte. Okay now. Just we protected this NH2 group. Just we decreased reactivity of NH2 group by acetylation. Then we subjected this for the nitration. Now you can recover the NH2 group that you protected by subjecting this for hydrolysis. ಇದನ್ನ hydrolysis ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? You can recover your NH2 group and thereby NHCOCH3 is converted to NH2 and of course this is NO2 there and of course minus CH3 COOH. This is paranitro-aniline or 4-nitro-aniline. Like this, by protecting NH2 group using acetic anhydride in presence of pyridine, you can convert aniline into paranitro-aniline. Okay na? ನಾವೇನಿಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನ ವಾಪಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ನೀವು ರಿಕವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ವಿ by hydrolysis. This is by acid hydrolysis or base hydrolysis. You can convert paranitro-acetanilide into acetate paranitro-aniline. So this is what we call it as conversion of aniline into paranitro-aniline. Just equations you are supposed to write, okay na, with proper names. This is aniline. Names anna baribeku, okay na. This is aniline. This is acetanilide. This is paranitro-acetanilide, and it will be paranitro-aniline. So this is what we call it as the part B of the question paper, okay na, model paper 4. And of course, let me remind you that as you know, I'm going to provide that is the PDF of this particular discussion. You can download the PDF of this particular model paper 4, okay na, and by using the link provided in the description box of this particular video, okay na. ಈ ವಿಡಿಯೋದ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಲಿಂಕ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಆ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಅನ್ನು ಬಳಸಿಕೊಂಡು ನೀವು ಈ ಒಂದು ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ಪೇಪರ್ 4 ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದರ PDF ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಡೌನ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. ಆಗ್ಬೋದಾ? Now we'll come to the, yes, it is part C, and that is inorganic part. You are supposed to answer 5 questions out of 8. Now let us see part C of the model paper 4. Yes. So ಈಗ part C ಬನ್ನಿ. Question number 19 ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, 19, 20 and 21. These 3 questions will be from P block elements. Question number 19 is from group 15 and question number 20 is from group 16. Question number 21 is from group 17. Each question carries 3 marks. 19 nodi. Mention 3 anomalous properties of nitrogen. As we know, the first member of each group in P block element has got, yes, it is anomalous properties. Now nitrogen is the first member of group 15. Oxygen is the first member of group 16. Fluorine is the first member of group 17. Helium is the first member of group 18. The first member of each group in P block will be characterized by, yes, it is anomalous properties. The main reason for the anomalous properties will be small size, high ionization enthalpy, high electronegativity and non-availability of d orbitals in their valence shell. Reasons ನಾನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಎಲ್ಲ anomalous properties ಕೂಡ ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್, ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್, ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್, ಫ್ಲೋರಿನ್, ಯಾವುದೇ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟಿನ anomalous ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಆಗಲಿ ರೀಸನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದೇನೆ. ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಸೈಜ್, ಹೈ ಅಯನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಎಂಥಾಲ್ಪಿ, ಹೈ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋನೆಗೆಟಿವಿಟಿ ಅಂಡ್ ನಾನ್ ಅವೈಲಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಡಿ ಆರ್ಬಿಟಲ್ಸ್. ಇದೇ ರೀಸನ್ಸ್ ಬರೀಬಹುದು. ಆದ್ರೆ ಅನಾಮಲಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂದಾಗ anomalous properties of elements will differ from element to element. ಹೌದಾ? anomalous properties will differ from element to element. ಹೌದಾ? ಈಗ ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್ ಇನ anomalous properties ಅನ್ನ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ anomalous properties ಅನ್ನ ಹೇಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ nitrogen is a gas and remaining elements of group 15 are solids. group 15 elements ಅಲ್ಲಿ nitrogen ಒಂದು ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ solids. nitrogen is gas, remaining are solids. One anomalous property. Second is nitrogen is a diatomic molecule, whereas other elements of group 15 are tetratomic molecules. ಹೌದಾ? ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್ ಅನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಫಾಸ್ಫರಸ್, ಹೌದಾ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆರ್ಸೆನಿಕ್, ಆಂಟಿಮನಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ tetratomic molecules, whereas nitrogen is diatomic molecule. That is one more anomalous property there. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು maximum covalency of nitrogen is 4. No, maximum covalency of nitrogen is 4 found in the case of an ammonium ion. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಿಮಗೆ maximum covalency of nitrogen 4 ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. But other group 15 elements will have 5 or 6 as the maximum covalency. Maximum covalency of phosphorus is 6, but nitrogen will have a maximum covalency of, yes, it is 4 only. That is one more anomalous property. Yes, you know, group 15 elements are characterized by trihydrides. Group 15 elements will form trihydrides. Nitrogen will form NH3, phosphorus will form PH3, arsenic will form ASS3, antimony will form SPS3. These are the hydrides of group 15 elements. Except NH3, the trihydrides of other group 15 elements do not take part in hydrogen bonding. ಅಮೋನಿಯಾ ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಇನ್ ಯಾವ ಟ್ರೈಹೈಡ್ರೇಟ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಬಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅಮೋನಿಯಾ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಬಾಂಡಿಂಗ್, ಬಟ್ ಅದರ್ trihydrides of other group 15 elements do not take part in hydrogen bonding. That is one more anomalous property. Yes, and of course, and apart from that, you know, nitrogen has got one unique ability of forming p-pi bonds. You know, there is a nitrogen to nitrogen triple bond in the case of nitrogen molecule. That's because of yes, it is p-pi bonding. That is pi bonding formed by the overlapping of p orbitals. That is p-pi bonding is found in the case of nitrogen, but other elements do not take part in p-pi bonding. Rather, they participate in p-pi bonding, p-pi bonding or d-pi bonding with other elements, but nitrogen doesn't take part in d-pi bonding. Yes, because nitrogen doesn't contain d orbitals in its valence shell. Yes, let us see question number 6, question number 20. That question number 20 is from yes, it is group 16. Okay, na? The question is write equations for the following reactions. 3 reactions are given and you are supposed to write the equation for that. Here nodi, action of sulfur dioxide on chlorine. Look at this. Simple it is. When sulfur dioxide reacts with chlorine in presence of charcoal, and you are going to get SO2 Cl2. This is what we call it as sulfuryl chloride. So this is what we call it as one reaction, action of sulfur dioxide on chlorine there. Yes, you are going to get sulfuryl chloride. Action of sulfur dioxide on sodium hydroxide. Look at this. When sodium hydroxide reacts with sulfur dioxide, yes, that leads to the formation of, yes, it is Na2SO3, right? That leads to the formation of Na2SO3. Look at this. This is 2Na anta barkondre Na2SO3 plus H2 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, right? And this particular, yes, it is Na2SO3 plus H2O further reacts with sulfur dioxide. When excess sulfur dioxide is passed through the sodium hydroxide solution, this undergoes further reaction to give, yes, it is 2NaHSO3 there, 2NaHSO3 sodium bisulfite. This is what we call it as the equation there. Yes, okay na? Illeno first step al barutalla product Na2SO3 plus H2O that further reacts with sulfur dioxide to give sodium bisulfite. This is equation for the second reaction. Okay na? Third reaction nodi, action of moist sulfur dioxide on ferric salt. You know, ferric salt is represented as Fe3 plus. Moist sulfur dioxide is represented by using sulfur dioxide in water. Moist sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide is a reducing agent. Reduces ferric salts into ferrous salts and gets oxidized into sulfate ions, right? Okay na? And of course, along with the formation of H plus ions. ಇದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕೀಗ, ರೈಟ್? ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ +4 ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ +6 ಇದೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಚೇಂಜ್? 2 ಚೇಂಜ್. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇನ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಟು ಸಲ್ಫೇಟ್, ಯು ನೋ, ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈಡ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಎಷ್ಟು? 2Fe3+ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿ, ಇದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿ. ಆಗ 2Fe3+ ಆದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು? 2Fe2+ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಎಸ್, ಹೌದಲ್ವೋ? ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನೀವು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಎಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ +6 ಇದೆ ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಇಲ್ಲೇನಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ +4 -2 ಎಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ +1 ಇದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ +6 ಇದೆ, ಈ ಕಡೆನೂ +6 ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. +6 ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲುಕ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ನೋಡಿ +4 ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ +4 ಮಾಡಿ +8 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, -10 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, +6 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ 4x+ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು 2h2 ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಎಸ್, I think equation is balanced. This is what we call it as the reduction of Fe3+ ions to ferrous ions in presence of sulfur dioxide, and of course moist sulfur dioxide. Yes, so this is what we call it as the equation, and these are the 3 equations that you are supposed to write for the given reactions. Agboodala, right? Each equation carries 1 mark, right? How is question number 21 from group 17 nodi? How is chlorine gas manufactured by Deakin's process anta ide. Write the structure of perchloric acid anta ide, right? You know that in Deakin's process, hydrochloric acid is oxidized to chlorine using oxygen in presence of cupric chloride catalyst at 723 kelvins, right? That is in Deakin's process, oxidation of hydrochloric acid to chlorine takes place. Oxidation of hydrochloric acid to chlorine takes place. Oxygen is removed in the form of water there. Yes, 2 oxygen atoms ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ 2h2 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆಗ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ 4HCl ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಅವಾಗ ಇದೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ 2Cl2 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Reaction is carried out in presence of cupric chloride catalyst at about 723 kelvins. This is Deakin's process for the oxidation of hydrochloric acid to chlorine there. So this is what we call it as manufacture of chlorine by Deakin's process. Equation carries 1 mark and explanation carries 1 mark. That is the 2 mark question, Deakin's process. Write the structure of perchloric acid ಅಂತಿದೆ. ನಾನೀಗ ಬರೀ perchloric acid ತೋರಿಸೋದಿಲ್ಲ. I will show you the structure of all oxy acids. Then it will be easy for you to write the structure of any oxy acid. Okay na? Any oxy acid of chlorine. ನೋಡಿ ಇದು, this is what we call it as hypochlorous acid, HOCl. Next ನೋಡಿ, ಇದಂತೂ ಕಾಮನ್ ಇದೆನಾ, ಒಂದು ಡಬಲ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ಲೋರಸ್ ಆಸಿಡ್. ಇದನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಸ್, ಇದೇನಿದು, ಇದು ಹೈಪೋಕ್ಲೋರಸ್ ಆಸಿಡ್, ಇದು ಕ್ಲೋರಸ್ ಆಸಿಡ್. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಡಬಲ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ಲೋರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್. ಇದನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಸ್ ನೋಡಿ, ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಡಬಲ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಪರ್ಕ್ಲೋರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋ Cl2O double bond, 1 Cl2O double bond, 2 Cl2O double bond, 3 Cl2O double bond. This is hypochlorous. This is chlorous acid. This is chloric acid. This is perchloric acid. This is perchloric acid. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಗಮನಿಸಬೇಕು ಇಲ್ಲಿ, you are supposed to decide the oxidation number of chlorine. Oxidation number of chlorine in this case hypochlorous acid is +1. Oxidation state of chlorine in chlorous acid is +3. Oxidation state of chlorine in chloric acid is +5. Oxidation state of chlorine in perchloric acid is +7. ಅದು ಕೇಳ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ, what is the oxidation state of chlorine in perchloric acid? +7, chloric acid +5, chlorous acid +3, hypochlorous acid +1. ಇದು ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕೇಳಿರೋದು ಒಂದೇನೆ. Yes, it is. You are supposed to write the structure of this perchloric acid. Yes. Next one, 22 nodi. Why is Cr2+ is reducing, Mn2+ is oxidizing when both have D4 configuration? That is 2 mark question. Yes. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸಬ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಡಿ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ. That is transition elements exhibit variable oxidation stress. Give reasons. 22A carries 1 marks. 22B carries 2 marks. First ನೋಡೋಣ. Cr2+ is reducing, Mn3+ is oxidizing. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, reducing agents undergo oxidation, oxidizing agents undergo reduction. ಇದು reducing ಅಲ್ವಾ, it undergoes oxidation to give Cr3+ with the loss of 1 electron. Therefore it is reducing agent. ಇದು ಅವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಗೋಸ್ ರಿಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಟು ಗಿವ್ Mn2+. ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲೇನೆ, Why it has to undergo oxidation ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಿ, electronic configuration of this Cr2 plus is 3d4. The valential electronic configuration of Cr2 plus is 3d4. Okay na? When it loses one electron it becomes 3d3. ಹೌದಾ? ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ 3d3 configuration is very very stable because these 3 electrons can be accommodated in, yes it is T2g set. You know, in T2g set we have, yes it is 3 d orbitals, howda? And each d orbital is occupying 1 electron each. That is completely half filled T2g set, howda? In 3d3 configuration, Cr chromium 3 plus is stable because of completely half filled T2g set. That's why Cr2 plus is converted to Cr3 plus easily by losing electron. Therefore, Cr2 plus undergoes oxidation easily. That's why Cr2 plus is reducing. As far as Mn3 plus is concerned, its configuration is 3d4. On gaining 1 electron, it becomes 3d5. Niಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ 3d5 is a stable configuration and this is completely half filled state. ಹೌದಾ? 3d5 ಕೂಡ completely half filled state and therefore Mn plus 2 is more stable than Mn3 plus. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ in order to get stability, Mn3 plus is converted to Mn2 plus by gaining 1 electron, means Mn3 plus readily undergoes reduction. Therefore, it is oxidizing agent. Yes. ಯಾವುದೇ reducing agent ಆಗಲಿ, it undergoes oxidation as in the case of Cr2 plus. ಯಾವುದೇ oxidizing agent ಇರಲಿ, it undergoes reduction as in the case of Mn3 plus. Okay na? That is what we call it as reason for that. One more question. Yes. Transition elements exhibit variable oxidation states. Give reason. Now, the variable oxidation states in transition elements is due to the two reasons. Participation of ns electrons and n-1 electrons in bonding. That is, in the case of transition elements, electrons present in n-1d as well as electrons present in ns subshell will take part in bonding because of the small energy difference between n-1d and ns subshells. Energy difference between n-1d orbitals and ns orbitals will be very very small. Because of that, electrons present in n-1d as well as ns subshell will take part in bonding. That's why they exhibit variable oxidation states. And the second reason is availability of partially filled d orbitals. Transition elements are characterized by partially filled d orbitals, and because of that also they are having an ability of exhibiting variable oxidation states. That is the reason there. Okay na? So this is two reasons. Get 2 mark irtade. Hagagi a simple question that you can write. Question number 22 from D block elements. 23 banni. Other once again from D block elements. Why do transition elements exhibit higher enthalpies of atomization? The higher enthalpy of atomization of the transition elements will be very very high. Enthalpy of atomization andre energy required to convert, energy required to, yes it is convert 1 mole of a metal into its gaseous atoms. 1 mole of metal solid into its gaseous atoms, that is called enthalpy of atomization. Reason is the strong interatomic force of attraction due to the, yes it is presence of a large number of unpaired electrons, due to the participation of large number of unpaired electrons in bonding. That is transition elements are characterized by large number of unpaired electrons. Because of that, all those unpaired electrons will take part in metallic bonding. Thereby, what happens, interatomic force of attraction increases, and because of that, they have high enthalpy of atomization. They have stronger interatomic bonding due to presence of large number of unpaired electrons in their atoms. That is the reason. Yes. Calculate the spin only magnetic moment of divalent ion if its atomic number is 25. One metal atom is yes, other atomic number 25, and its electronic configuration should be argon 3d5 4s2. Nodi argon 18 plus 5 23 plus 2 25 icon. And you are supposed to calculate magnetic moment of divalent metal ion. This is neutral metal atom. M is converted to M2 plus by losing 2 electrons. And those 2 electrons will be lost from 4s subshell. Now you are left with 5 electrons in 3D. and 5 orbitals in 3D there. Each orbital is occupied by 1 electron. Therefore, number of unpaired electrons will be 5. And therefore, magnetic moment mu is equal to square root of n into n plus 2 in terms of Bohr magnetons. That is n ಅಂದ್ರೆ 5. That is 5 plus 2. ಹೌದಾ 35. ಹೌದಾ square root of 36 ಎಷ್ಟು 6 ಅಲ್ವಾ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ square root of 35 ಎಷ್ಟಾಗ್ಬೋದು it will be less than yes it is 6 there around 5.92 Bohr magnetons. This is the magnetic moment of yes it is the transition metal a divalent transition metal ion with atomic number 25. Yes. So magnetic moment calculate ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ unpaired electrons ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. d orbitals ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು unpaired electrons ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. ಆ unpaired electrons ಗೊತ್ತಾದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ you can calculate the magnetic moment. Yes, that is. ನೋಡಿ ಇದು ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ 2 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಮರಿಬಾರ್ದು ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಒಂದು ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಈಸಿ ಆಗಿ ನೀವು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ರೈಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೈ ನೋಡಿ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 24 ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಷನ್ ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್ಸ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಎಸ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಷನ್ ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್ಸ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಇಂದ 3 ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳು ಬರ್ತದೆ ಎಸ್ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ ವಿಬಿಟಿ ಇಂದ ಎಸ್ ಇನ್ನ ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾರ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಥಿಯರಿ ಇಂದ ಆದ್ರೂ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂಡ್ ಅದರ್ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಷನ್ ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಇಂದ ಆದ್ರೂ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗಮನ ಇಟ್ಟು ಓದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ 9 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ಇದು ಒಂದೇ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಇಂದ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಎಸ್ ಲುಕ್ ಅಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೀನ್ ಬೈ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಷನ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಆರ್ ಆಟಮ್ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಷನ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ coordination bonds number of coordination bonds formed between metal atom or ion and ligands is called coordination number. ಹೌದಾ determine the coordination number of Fe3 plus in FeC2O4 thrice ಇದೆ this is FeC2O4 thrice and of course 3 minus this is a one complex you are supposed to calculate the coordination number ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ now you are supposed to calculate the number of coordinate bonds ಅಲ್ವಾ number of coordinate bonds ಅನ್ನು ನೀವು ಕೌಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ coordinate bonds are there between ligands and center metal ಅಲ್ವಾ ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತ ligand ಯಾವುದು oxalato what kind of ligand it is bidentate ಅಂದ್ರೆ one molecule of oxalato will form two coordinate bonds one molecule of oxalate will form two coordinate bonds because it is bidentate ಅದು bidentate ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ನಿಮಗೆ ಅಂತವು 3 bidentate ligands ಇದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ it will form 6 coordinate bonds so that's why the coordination number of Fe3 plus in this complex is 6. Another example ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ that is CO yes it is NS3 yes it is 4 times En and of course 3 plus ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಇದೊಂದು ಕಾಂಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ ಓಕೆನಾ ಈ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲಿಗ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿ ಎರಡು ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಇದೆ ಇದು monodentate ligand ammonia is monodentate ligand one monodentate ligand will form one coordinate bond 4 monodentate ligands will form 4 bonds ಹಾಗಾಗಿ 4 into 1 4 coordinate bonds ಬಂತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ethylene diamine bidentate ligand one ethylene diamine will form 2 coordinate bonds ಹಾಗಾಗಿ one ligand can form 2 bonds total ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು ಈಗ 6 is the yes it is a coordination number so ಈ ತರ ನೀವು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ರೈಟ್ mention the oxidation number of central metal atom in metal carbonyls. What is the oxidation number of central metal atom in metal carbonyls? Andre 0. All metal carbonyls will have in all metal carbonyls the oxidation number of central metal atom is 0 there. So this is what we call it as the one more question from coordination compounds, that is question number 24. Now let us see question number 25 in inorganic chemistry, that is coordination chemistry itself. Based on VBT explain hybridization geometry and magnetic property of COF6 3 minus ಹೌದಾ ನೋಡಿ ಈಗ ಇದು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ COF6 3 minus hexafluoride cobaltate 3 ion this is complex ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ you are supposed to decide oxidation number of central metal atom cobalt oxidation number x ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ fluoride -1 charge ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ 6 ಇದೆ that's equal to -3 therefore x is equal to +3 so here the electronic configuration of yes it is CO3 plus ion ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ that is argon yes it is 3d6 4s0 4p0 ಹೌದಾ this is electronic configuration ಕೋಬಾಲ್ಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಗರೇಷನ್ ಏನು 3d7 4s2 ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ನಂಬರ್ +3 ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ 3 ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. 2 from 4s, 1 from 3d. ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ? 3d6 4s0 4p0. This is electronic configuration of CO3+. ಈಗ according to valence bond theory, the orbitals present in valence shell of central metal ion will participate in bonding. ಹೌದಾ? That is, now you write orbitals of CO3+ ion. 3d ಇದೆ, you write 3d there. Yes, 3d ಅಲ್ಲಿ you got 5d orbitals. Next we have 4s ಇದೆ. 4s has got 1 orbital. Next ಏನಿದೆ? 4p ಇದೆ. ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ 4p has got 3p orbitals. ಹೌದಾ? This has got 5. This has got 5. ಹೌದಾ? This is 3d. This is 4s. This is 4p. ಹೌದಾ? ನೋಡಿ 3d ಅಲ್ಲಿ 6 electrons. Accommodate 6 electrons according to Hund's rule. Accommodate each orbital with 1 electron first. 6th electron undergoes pairing. Now we got 4 unpaired electrons. No electron in 4s and no electron in 4p. Ligand is F minus. Weak ligand. In presence of weak ligand, no electron pairing takes place. That is, in presence of weak ligand, F minus, no electron pairing against Hund's rule takes place. ಈ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಬರೀಬೇಕು. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ electronic configuration of CO3+ ion in presence of weak ligand F minus. In presence of weak ligand F minus ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? No electron pairing ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ no change in the configuration of 3d. 3d configuration ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಇಲ್ಲ, ರೈಟ್? ಓಕೆನಾ? There will be 4 unpaired electrons with 6 electrons. ಹೌದಾ? And here it is 4s and it will be 4p. ಹೌದು ತಾನೆ? ರೈಟ್? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗಮನಿಸಬೇಕು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ we have 6 ligands. Each ligand will contribute 1 pair of electron. 6 ligands together could donate 6 pairs of electrons. In order to accommodate 6 pairs of electrons, you need 6 vacant orbitals. But ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? 4 ಇದೆ. ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಪೇರಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ವೇಕೆಂಟ್ ಆರ್ಬಿಟಲ್ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ವೀಕ್ ಲಿಗ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನೋ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಪೇರಿಂಗ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ Hund's rule. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ the orbitals in the outer shell, outer d orbitals will take part in, yes, it is bonding here. This is 4d. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಈಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನ್ ಬೇಕೀಗ 4d orbitals ಅನ್ನ ತಗೋಬೇಕು ಫ್ರಮ್ ಔಟರ್ ಡಿ ಆರ್ಬಿಟಲ್ಸ್. ಹೌದು ತಾನೆ? ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಇನ್ನರ್ ಡಿ ಆರ್ಬಿಟಲ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಬರೀ 4 ಆರ್ಬಿಟಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇದೆ, ವೇಕೆಂಟ್ ಆರ್ಬಿಟಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇದೆ. ನಮಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು 6 ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಒಂದು 4s ಇಂದ 3 4p ಇಂದ 2 4d ಇಂದ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? ಹೈಬ್ರಿಡೈಸೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ 1s orbital, 3p orbitals and 2d orbitals undergo mixing and that results in sp3d2 hybridization. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ now let us see sp3d2 hybridization. sp3d2 hybridization, yes, and no problem to the 3d orbitals, right? ಇಲ್ಲಿ 3d orbitals ಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ರೈಟ್? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದ ಲಿಗ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಈಸ್ ವೀಕ್ ಲಿಗ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ನೋ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಪೇರಿಂಗ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ Hund's rule, no orbitals from 3d available for bonding. This is 4s. ಹೌದಾ? ನೋಡಿ, ಒಂದು 4s, 3 4p and 2 4d, total 6 ಅಲ್ವಾ? Undergo mixing and you are going to get sp3d2 hybridization. Yes, and of course sp3d2 hybridization. ನೋಡಿ, ಈ 6 ಹೈಬ್ರಿಡ್ ಆರ್ಬಿಟಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು s ಇದೆ, 3 p ಇದೆ, 2 d ಆರ್ಬಿಟಲ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ sp3d2 hybrids. ಹೌದಾ? ಉಳಿಯೋದೆಷ್ಟು? and you will have with, yes, it is 3 4d orbitals ಉಳಿತದೆ. this is 4d orbitals ಉಳಿತದೆ. yes, and these vacant sp3d2 hybrid orbitals overlap with filled orbitals of fluoride ligands. That results in the formation of 6 coordinate bonds around the cobalt. And finally, this is the formation of the complex COF6 3 minus, and this is because of overlapping of 6 vacant sp3d2 hybrid orbitals of central metal ion with vacuum and filled orbitals of ligands. Total estimated 6 is there, right? Total 6 is there. So this is what we call it as 4d is there, 3 orbitals there, and here it is no change in the configuration of 3d. Okay na? But the electron pairs donated from the ligands, will be accommodated in vacant sp3d2 hybrids. I am writing those ligands, those electron pairs from ligands using orange colored chalk. These are the electron pairs from ligands. 6 ligands will contribute 6 pairs. This is the 6 electron pairs from ligands. 6 electron pairs from ligands. This is 4d. This is how that complex COF6 3 minus is formed. And this complex has got 4 unpaired electrons, therefore it is paramagnetic. And therefore, the summary of this particular discussion is hybridization is sp3d2 hybridization. Therefore, geometry is octahedral. And of course, the complex is paramagnetic. With 4 unpaired electrons, right? So this is what we call it as the formation of the complex COF6 3 minus, right? And that carries 3 marks, very simple, and you can easily get 3 marks. Total nಮಗೆ VBT in the 4 complexes ಇದೆ. ಈ 4 complexes ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು compulsory ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Yes. Next ನೋಡಿ 26, last question of the part C there. Write the IUPAC name of the complex. What is coordination sphere? Mention the 2 factors on which magnitude of crystal field splitting depends. ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. That is as far as IUPAC name is concerned. K3 AL. Yes, it is complex ನೋಡಿ first. K3 AL C2O4 thrice ಈ ತರ ಇದೆ. Complex is ionic complex because coordination sphere is negatively charged, ionic sphere is positively charged. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇದು ionic complex. Ionic complex ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ, names of metal atom will end with 8. Names of central metal atom will end with 8. ಹೌದಾ? Positive part potassium, ಬರ್ದ್ಬಿಡಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇನೆ, potassium, right? That is trioxalato. 3 oxalato ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ trioxalato. Aluminate 3. This is oxidation number of aluminium. ಹೇಗೆ ನೋಡಿ, potassium charges to +1 ಎಷ್ಟಿದಾವೆ 3. Aluminium X ಅಲ್ವಾ, oxalate charges to minus ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ 3. That's equal to 0 because complex is neutral. ನೋಡಿ ಇದ್ರ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ x is equal to +10 ಬರೀಬೋದಾ? ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ oxidation number of aluminum is 3 +3 there. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ potassium trioxalato aluminate 3 is the IUPAC name of that complex. Yes. What is coordination sphere? You know, the complex we have ionic sphere and coordination sphere. What we said, coordination sphere will be generally written inside the square bracket. Ionic sphere will be written outside the square bracket. Illi coordination sphere ಯಾವುದು? That consists of oxalate, ligands and central metal ion. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ coordination sphere is non-ionizable part of the complex in which ligands are attached to the central metal ion through coordinate bonds, which will be written inside the square bracket. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ non-ionic part of the complex, your ligands and central metal ion together constitute coordination sphere. Ligands with central metal ion together constitute coordination sphere of the complex. Okay na? ಹಾಗಾಗಿ that is coordination sphere. Mention the 2 factors on which magnitude of crystal field splitting delta O depends. Very simple. One factor is a field produced by the ligands. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, crystal field splitting in octahedral complex is more than crystal field splitting in tetrahedral complex. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ field produced by the 6 ligands in octahedral complexes field is produced by 4 ligands in tetrahedral complex. Hagagi, field produced by the ligands. And that is one factor. Second factor is charge on the metal ion. Positive charge on the metal ion is one more reason for the, yes, it is that crystal field splitting. Because, as far as CFT is concerned, according to CFT, that is the bonding between central metal ion and ligand. Athwa coordination bonding is purely electrostatic force of attraction between central metal ion and ligands. Here ligands are treated as point charges, or you can say negative poles. Central metal ion will be positively charged. So because of that electrostatic force of attraction, because of that electrostatic nature of the coordinate bonding, the field is produced by, yes, it is ligands. Hagagi, crystal field splitting depends on field produced by the ligands. That is the negative charges around the central metal ion in a complex, that is field. And then charge of the metal ion. So that is what we call it as the magnitude of the crystal field splitting. And that is the part C of the question paper. In the next video, we'll see part D. Okay, na? Part D of the question paper 4. Okay, na? Remaining things we'll see in the next video. Okay, na? Thank you very much, right?